So during this broadcast, you can send us stars. If you like what we do, you appreciate us, send us stars. These are digital thank you. If you like what we media we're doing, send us some stars. These are digital thank yous. Digital emailer. You can send digital emailer. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your participation. We appreciate your support always. But God day. So back to what we were talking about. Talking about the strength, the struggles, the participation of heroes past and heroes before us that have made things different and better for us. So that's what we're talking about before we got interrupted. And also we spoke about the importance of opinions and divergent opinions, because divergent opinions today can become convergent opinions later. Opinions that seem all over the place or in disarray or in several arrays can someday somehow point back to one particular fulcrum, which is the center, right? In that way they can converge eventually. Again, our platforms are very, very tolerant. We don't allow or accept any forms of violence. So no violence supported or allowed on our platforms. We expect everybody to have their own opinion, and we expect everybody's opinion to be respected fully by everybody else. We must respect one another's opinion on this platform. That's the way to go. That way, a lot of people are a bit shy to express themselves because they don't even know what the next person will be saying about them or to them or thinking about them in a negative way. But if you allow people to freely express themselves, believe me, that's how you get some of these effects and social changes, you know, because people brainstormed, people shared opinions, people did not hide from what they needed to say, people were not intimidated, people were allowed to freely express themselves. That's how you come up with superior logic, and that's how you come up with better things for the people. At the end of the day, what we want is the best for our communities, whether we like them or not. Whether it's not about being personal, it's about whatever you're doing. And again, may I talk we know they here just to the yarn, we know they here just to the yarn, just to the talk because we want to talk. Even as so, we just to talk to ourselves or just call somebody for phone, begin missing. But when we go public like this, that means we're seeking to effectively deliver. We're seeking to cause a social change at the end of the day. So when we discuss certain aspects, make one no take I'm like say we just the talk. No, nobody just want talk. We the talk because we want better. We the talk because we want things to change. We the talk because we know that our talk will eventually bring something better, right? Yeah, that's what we are. So I was making a statement about heroes past did not shy away from delivering their opinions. People like Marcus Garvey, they delivered their opinions, and even at those times their opinions were very unpopular, that did not throw them back. That did not discourage them. They kept on with it because those opinions were innate, and they were truly coming from within, and they were transparent and honest opinions. So they expressed them, and when you express those transparent and honest and and gut-driven opinions. When your opinions are gut-driven, it does something. Eventually gets charged up. These are like molecules. Before, okay, for instance, now before the light, what would they see? According to people who do physics, these lights, you know, go see them if to say there's no excitation of molecules, right? When those molecules get charged up, electrons go jump out, and you go see them as light. So those opinions are like that. If you do not charge those opinions, they no go jump out, and you no go see them bright, and you no go see some of the freedom we would enjoy today. You go just sit down, they look. So whichever opinions you have, whichever ideas you have, do not let them die inside you. Bring them out. Bring those ideas out. Let them be charged like molecules, you know. Let them become electrons, you know. Let them be protons. Let them jump out. Let the simplest, let the most minuscule of those ideas be brought out. And trust me, when they are charged up, they become something concrete. That way, collectively, we can change the world. I'm telling you. Equela ideas in when you make because a man does or a man chalk and does or something. So, now this platform, that's why everybody encourage. Everybody must participate. Everybody must feel free to participate. People like Marcus Garvey championed the movement back to Africa. At one point, okay, this America now, we would there now. See the beauty of Yankee. We just enjoy this Yankee now. Look. See how the cars are, look at the road network, which is one of the things we're going to be discussing today. See how well organized everything is, right? Now look at these lanes are made for the Dangote trucks and the Bongoros. So if they want catch fire, kill people, now that they're on their own, they will catch fire for their lane. Now these are for regular cars, but all roads are made by very serious civil engineers who are not compromised at all in their delivery. You understand? Nigerian civil engineers will give you a quotation for a road, to build a road that's supposed to be solid and safe. Then a politician will now tell the guy, say, come on, this thing did too much, oh. If I submit this quotation like this, if I were to submit this quotation, Oga go reject them, oh. And if Oga reject them, that means say we no go get this contract again. I think the best thing to do now for you to just change them small, whatever. So they'll be playing with the numbers, and while they're playing with the numbers, they're playing with people's safety. They're playing with a whole lot of things. Before you know, people are dying because of these little mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now Nigerian people need to let manslaughter charges be brought upon any of these engineers who willfully deliver bad infrastructure, bad roads. You understand? Because in America, if you build something finish and you know doing well, and people die off of it, trust me, or people get injured seriously, that's what they call negligent manslaughter, right? There's those are charges that can be brought against any engineers or public servants that do not deliver right when they're supposed to deliver right? So you must have personal responsibility. Yes, they say you cannot prosecute morality, true, but your morality, the integrity within you, should also drive you into delivering quality work, especially when you have what they call work made for hire. If someone hires you to be an engineer for a road system, and then you do an under-par job and cause public safety to be to be in trouble, if you cause public safety to be challenged, then that challenge should somehow translate into you losing some form of your personal freedom. If people should lose their lives on a road that you design and that you worked on, and you didn't do the right things, maybe some areas you didn't put the gullies where they're supposed to be, but you've actually taken the money for those gullies, one day, you understand? So personal responsibility is very important. So then at the end of the day, one oga will protect you from the top. Unuchi change your but I get video from Mishi. Onyo lazuzunu abaya rubi ewala kupoya. Anyway, back to Iheanyị Kogamaka in the heroes past, right? We talked about Marcus Garvey. Then we also have people like Emperor Haile Selassie. People like Emperor Haile Selassie, the Ethiopian king. Now, when Haile Selassie was the empire of Ethiopia was the only African empire never to be colonized, right? Now, the British and other people tried, but they failed. So along the line, they adopted the policy of just having him there and working with the emperor for many years, until in the 30s, Italy came and attacked Ethiopia. Now, that's one of the things that happened with the, they call it the League of Nations. Back in the days, the League of Nations was the mother of United Nations. Now we have the United Nations, but back then we had League of Nations. So League of Nations was founded basically on the premise of collective security, right? Whereby all member nations had collective security, meaning if anything were to happen to one person, that meant it will happen to all of us. So so that was supposed to be collective security premise. That was the foundation, or supposedly to be the foundation of the League of Nations. The League of Nations was formed after the First World War, by the way. And back in, let me take you a little bit memory lane or history lane, right? Germany had colonized Cameroon. It used to be called the Cameroons. Germany colonized Cameroon, and for a while, the English people and the French people had their eyes on Cameroon, but they couldn't. So after the Second World War, after the First World War, they decided to balkanize all the possessions or former possessions of Germany. So the British and the French people decided to split up Cameroon. So if you go to Cameroon today, they are older generation, they speak German. Their grandmothers and their grandfathers, some of them, they speak German because that's what they were raised in. Just like our grandmothers, some of them they speak English in Niger. In Cameroon, they speak German. But today, Cameroon is a French territory. And a lot of people go come begin to say Cameroon being a French territory, that means say na Cameroon be na French people from day one, na lie. It was a German territory. So this is just an example of what happened to Africa. You know, there was this crave for balkanization and sharing of African territories by the European powers from day one. And while they are sharing this thing, they didn't even care. They didn't even give any damn about ethnic nationalities being separated by the newly drawn boundaries and causing a lot of conflict. And that's one of the major issues where in Africa today, a lot of ethnic nationalities were just bungled up, made to observe or made to accept new geographical and social realities, and those geographical and social realities are in serious conflict with who they really are, with their social being, and with their foundational being. And that has caused, that's one of the problems that we have in Africa, wars everywhere, because people are no longer allowed to be who they're supposed to be or who they were. They've been given new identities, the maps have been redrawn, and you've been forced to accept new things. You've been given new names, you've been given all kinds of things not be what they're supposed to be. So a lot of the times you won't even understand what the people are saying or what they're coming from. So real quickly, so when these powers just begin to scatter Africa, just they tear things up and down, you know. Nigeria, British people come begin grab their own, you know, everybody begin grab their own. Okay, if you go into the Bakassi Peninsula side now, see how some ethnic Niger, just an ethnic Cameroonians have been divided by international lines. Some are Cameroonians, some are Nigerians, but these are these people of the same ethnic nationalities. If you go to Benin Republic now, where they call Dahomey, see the border there. They have a lot of Yoruba people who found themselves in Dahomey. Some Yoruba people found themselves inside Niger. You understand? A lot of issues arose from those. So the original ideas by people like Marcus Garvey was for a return back to Africa, right? So, and they accomplished that. A lot of people were sent back to back to Liberia, you know, Liberty. So Liberia is practically a creation of the American state, right? Freetown, as the name suggests, in Sierra Leone was another area, you know, where freed slaves were sent to after the emancipation who wanted to go back. People, even in Nigeria today, some of these people that you hear answering English names were once, their progenitors were once slaves. People like Herbert Macaulay, the Bishop Ajayi Crowder, you know, people like the Fernandez, people like the Rose Vivor in Lagos, you know. Fernandez, some of them even came back from Brazil after experiencing slavery for a minute over there, right? So my point is, all these people had ideas. They had burning ideas, and that's why they were able to survive and succeed. You and I can move freely. Okay, see us now. Today we're there for Yankee. 100 years ago, you couldn't walk around as a free. Even 30 years ago, no, not 30. Let's say in the 60s. In the 60s, as a black man, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now easily. I'm on an interstate travel, right? Just they go between states. Back in America in the 50s, 60s, trust me, some of these KK people, if they catch you, you're a gunner. But you realize that people like Marcus Garvey, people like Martin Luther King, people like Malcolm X, they fought very hard to make sure that there's a restoration of dignity and respect for the black man and for blackness, so that now the world even has lots of nations have laws now that will punish anybody who targets you as a black person. the civil rights movement, we must respect, we must applaud what they did, all right? So the heroes, Marcus Garvey, them, Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, like I was saying, in the 30s, Ethiopia was never colonized by any European power. The only African nation never to be colonized. Ethiopia and of course Liberia. But the reason you can add Liberia to that is because Liberia was a creation of the American state. It was an extension. So after the emancipation of slavery, Liberia to them was a way of showing more empathy, to show that they've actually fully have reconciled with their conscience about the ills of slavery. So to show that they are sorry about it, they created Liberia and actually empowered a lot of blacks to go to Liberia and establish their own colony and then build a nation for themselves. Now, that will be one of the discussions we'll be having maybe next week. The irony of this: you build a black nation, you send blacks back over there to show that you're serious about ending slavery, and you empower the blacks that you've sent over there. You even encourage them to loot and take away from the natives, because you're bringing in a population, that new population that you're bringing in has displaced an already indigenous population, right? It's a common fact. Anytime you bring people in from somewhere, you've displaced somebody. Now, that displacement, have you given it adequate compensation? Or was that displacement done by force? Was it a negotiated displacement? Even if it were, did you leave any, even if it were a negotiated displacement, did you leave any tools in place, any bench marks, any observatory tributes or marks that will encourage at best, or that will ensure that the alien population that you've just introduced into this indigenous population will not continue to perpetuate intolerant behaviors against them, will not continue to intimidate, harass, and rule over the people unfairly and unduly? Have you done that? No. So in Liberia, a lot of those things happened. The foreign population that came in, which they call the Congas, right? They call them the Congas, the American blacks that came back. They were very well, people like Tobo them, you know. Most of the presidents from the beginning were all these Americo-Liberians, until we started getting to the people like Sergeant John Doe them, you know, Sergeant Doe them, now them be the indigenous people. They come begin do shakara. They needed to show off their whatever, right? You don't blame the international community though for reacting the way they did, because African leaders have a way of overdoing things. Doe was overdoing his own, you know. Anyway, our point again is the American government established and supported the Liberian government, right? Then. But guess what? Their own blacks back in America, they don't do anything for them. The average black man in America was suffering a lot. But the same America now made sure that the black man that he had sent back to Liberia was made a king, just so that the whole world go see them they try on a wash, on a shine. But at the end of the day, those decisions were made by some serious Americans, white people, white Americans, and I respect them a lot. As much as I respect the earlier civil rights leaders who were blacks, you gotta give kudos to the white civil rights leaders. They get plenty civil rights leaders will be Igbo. Those people suffer, those people try. In fact, some of them were killed by their own fellow Igbo. They were called, I don't know whether Facebook or Vex for that one. Nig lovers. They were called Nig lovers. When I know that they are now, they call and say people will love blacks or whatever. They were killed, many of them, and they didn't stop. You didn't stop them. Back in the day, when you have civil rights matches, you see them waka with people. They march. They no send. So Emperor Haile Selassie, back to him, he did a lot of work. For instance, the establishment of the African Union. You understand, and all those stuff, and in Addis Ababa. So when Mussolini attacked Ethiopia in the 30s, it was a big wahala. Nobody wanted to help Ethiopia. All of a sudden, the so-called League of Nations that was supposed to have been founded on the premise of collective security disappeared. It kind of vanished in thin air. So what's the essence of collective security? That means collective security is not reality. Collective security is not reality if your collective security is only selective. So that means you have what they call selective security, and selective security can never be reality, especially when you have a document or a charter that clearly states that this is collective security. Whatever that's against any one member nation is against all member nations. If Nigeria cry, England they cry. If England cry, Ghana go cry. That's supposed to be the premise of collective security. But they jettisoned all that, and that messed up the whole idea. So when Emperor Haile Selassie fled to England, England was very reluctant to assist him. It was very reluctant to assist him in kicking out Mussolini. So back then, United Kingdom had taken an approach of non-engagement, right, in world affairs, and that was very costly to the world, because if they had engaged sooner, Hitler and Mussolini were never going to be as powerful as they came out to be in the end. But they had that policy of non-engagement, and they were restrained. People like Wilson, them at the end of the day, were the people that said, you know what, this is not gonna work. Let's try to push for a different move. So Emperor Haile Selassie was given an abode, supposedly a safe abode. Most importantly, because he came there with gold, silver, diamond. You know, Ethiopia was very rich. So they welcomed him, let him stay there. Then after, and he begged them to come and help him kick out Ethiopia. They did not help him do that. We're going to have a whole program on this when we talk about consciousness and the Rastafari movement. We're going to discuss this next week. That's one of the topics we're going to be talking about next week. The Rastafari movement and consciousness. So, the Emperor Haile Selassie was disappointed, and then all of a sudden, while they were still trying to have a policy of containment. So when someone tells you they're having a policy of containment, that means you're containing something, you're restraining something, you're restricting something to a particular environment or to a particular sphere of ideas, right? Because everything must not be physical. If it's physical, you're restraining them to a particular environment. you're constraining them to a particular environment, right? If it's physical. But if it's ideological, which was the case during the Second World War and during the issue with Ethiopia and Italy, if that's together, that means you're having an ideological containment, and an ideological containment can be very dangerous, because when it explodes, nobody feel hold the people, because the people there's an ideology, there's a belief, that's what they're holding down, and you're trying to contain them, you're trying to force them, you're trying to increase the pressure on them. Even physics teaches you that when you reduce volume, pressure automatically increases. So there's an inverse relationship between pressure and volume. If you reduce the volume of anything, you're increasing that pressure. So when you try to over contain, that means you're anteing up the pressure, you're propping up the pressure. So that was the policy adopted by the United Kingdom, containment. Now, containment, anytime there's a containment, that means someone is losing. Yes, and the person where draw the containment policy is the winner. But then there are people losing, the people that are being contained. So as they say, make you contain the matter. Ethiopia was rampaging. Sorry, Italy was rampaging Ethiopia, making friends with Eritrea, so that, you know, the usual way, divide and rule. Eritrea and Ethiopia are supposed to be brother and sister. You go to Eritrea, tell them the Ethiopians are terrible, they'll follow you, fight with us. You know what I mean? So all those things messed up. But guess what? The policy of containment and the policy of non-engagement that England had previously adopted just blew up in their faces when Hitler was like, you know what? Because if you notice, Hitler was given the free space to operate by England. So he was like, wow, these people know they talk. You know? He entered Austria, they know Yan. Ha. He entered Poland, they know Yan. He said, Chineke, this is a free ride though. You understand? So, when he now bombed London, when he entered London, that was when UK now woke up. They went straight to Emperor Haile Selassie. They asked him, say you want to go home? He said, yeah. Okay, no shaking. We'll carry you go home. We're gonna make it. Ethiopia will become we'll come back. We'll help you kick Italy out, because Italy had an alliance with Germany. So Mussolini and Hitler had this alliance. So they feel say if Germany attacked them, same thing as Italy attacking them, you know. So they come and say, make one person day one side. They had this terrible, they call it the evil triangle, right? Hitler in Northern Europe, Mussolini Central and Southern Europe, and by extension parts of Africa. Then this other guy, Japan, terrorizing Asia. So they had this click, they had this understanding until US come up with the what they do for Hiroshima and Nagasaki side. But make we leave those ones. There's another discussion for next week as well, when we talk about the impact, world history, and the impact on the modern day policies and era that we're going through here. So quickly, that was the only way, the only reason the UK intervened and helped Ethiopia kick out Mussolini, because your enemy's friend, no, my enemy, my friend's enemy. How do they talk about here? My friend's enemy, not my enemy. Okay, yes. No, if my enemy will be my friend's enemy, now our enemies. So Italy, Ethiopia and England now had a common enemy. That was the only reason England now decided to help out Ethiopia. And how did they do it? Another topic of discussion, we're going to be discussing the Gideon Force. They came up with this, what they call the Gideon Force, right? The Gideon Force, if you go to the Bible, you will see, the Bible talks about the Gideon, the prophet or the fighter, where God say, go and help out the Israelites, make the Israelites come out. He can't say, God, but how now? Everybody don't run. He say, no worry. He said, God, but I don't get plenty people. He said, no matter. So that's how the idea of a few good men came along, right? Until God said, but if I read the original, I go to God say, make you summon all the men, carry them, go for river bank. This is your selection exercise, how you go choose, the screening exercise, how you go choose the right man to fight, so that the walls of Jericho go collapse. So they're going to ask and say, you're going to say, God, how do I do it? He said, when you get to the river banks, tell all men to bend over and drink. Tell them to drink from the river, right? If a man were to drink directly, meaning what we call ostriching, if you do ostrich style, where you go carry your head straight, drink from the tin water, use your mouth, chop them direct. He say, make you no carry those men, those ones will disappoint you. Take the men that will use their hand and scoop up the water and drink from their palms. They will use their hands, scoop up the water, drink from their palms. Those ones are the most vigilant ones. Those are the ones you will take. That means those vigilant ones are very aware. When they're drinking their water, they're watching over, they are watching out for the advance of the enemy. So when the enemy is coming, as they are scooping out the water in their hands, they are watching and they're seeing the enemy coming and they are reacting. But those ones that are drinking directly from the water, the ostriching ones, those ones you should not take. If you take those ones, their heads will be buried in the water while the enemies will have advanced and overrun them. Now him Gideon say, Baba God, now wow. If this were to be the case, now that means, if I may just forget the whole matter, because say, that means say, we no go get anybody now. That means say, we no go get anybody at all. God say, no matter. A few good men is better than 1 million of them. So that's how he selected the few good men that he used in rescuing the Israelites, right? That's Gideon in the Bible. So now, I give credit to the United Kingdom though. So during the Ethiopian war, they were asking themselves, how do we do this? How do we get this back? So they called on a seasoned fighter, gifted, talented fighter, Colonel Odell Wingate, right? Odell Wingate, the one of the best in the business. You know, back in the day, when you'd be military, it's like a calling. You were born, most of them were born to fight. Not be today where we say your parents want to make you make money, they want to make you be a bachelor, they want to make you be bank, they just carry you enter military. You go just they chop money. You go they talk say rats thief money. You go they talk say na snake swallow money, because no be your style, no be your calling. You did there to chop money. Anyway, people like the Wingate them, now them be the original people that were called to do this business of military. So the Wingate, he formed a very small squad. And this squad, they're small. The same questions were asked him. Say, but how would you People, Italy don't already enter Eritrea, circle everywhere. How in this freaking life would you recapture Ethiopia and kick out Italy? Italy had hundreds of thousands of soldiers, both of Italian heritage and mostly and African heritage. You know, as they do us now, they will always use us to fight us. So Iheanyị, when he presented his force, they laughed. The military brass of England laughed. Say, oh boy, which kind of thing? We don't say you be serious guy, but what did they want to do with this force? He laughed. He told them that this force, what they see here, is called the Gideon force. So he said, now that force, now him be the Gideon force. He said, wow. So if it's the Gideon force, make a show now. Hold on, please. Make a show now. Where would they now? Part of the discussions today is about this road network and what our engineers, the engineers in Nigeria, can be doing to help our population. Because if we don't do some of these things, see roads, see well-built roads, approaching, there should be negligent homicide rules adopted, whereby if somebody go build bad road or build any bad infrastructure, bridge, and people or anybody dies or gets injured from it, there must be liability. They have to have liability matters in Nigeria. Product liability clauses. If you don't have those product liability clauses, it's just going to be a child's play. You see people just doing businesses and doing rubbish and not taking things seriously. Okay. For instance, now look where we're there now. Look at this bridge that's approaching. I hope you guys can see the bridge. Okay, man. Now this is called the Delaware Water Bridge, right? See how well done if you see the gaps on the floor, well done and well spaced out, so that there will be enough room for linear expansivity of the metals. So if you don't gauge well for the expansivity of these metals, you can change the conformation easily and things can crush. It will crunch up and it will crush it. So now this is the arch. Look at the arch of the bridge. Nigeria, they do this kind one, so. But my problem is this: in Nigeria now, you see them try for this kind of bridge. One place, maybe second Nigeria bridge, they will bring some serious engineers who will make sense, make it look. But what about the other roads and other bridges? Why can't they all be like that? Why must you only overshine for Nigeria, second Nigeria bridge? Even for that one, they still get issues. They're not doing well, but they try. Why must you try to overshine there? But other places, you no go try at all. You just mess up people's this thing. You're playing with lives, you know. But anyway, back to Iheanyị and the Gideon force. So back to Iheanyị and the Gideon force. So now this guy said, make them no worry. Say this force when put together is called the Gideon force, and that with this force he's gonna take over. He's gonna recapture Ethiopia and hand it over to Emperor Haile Selassie. So they can't give him the they can't listen to him and give him the mandate. May go ahead. This guy, and I saw him use a force of under 10,000. He used them finish Italian forces of over 100,000. Instead and say this is the Gideon force, the same idea that Gideon had in the Bible. A few good men. That's how was recaptured. So a lot of people wonder why Emperor Haile Selassie was seen back then as God or Jesus incarnate, right? Especially by Caribbean blacks, the Caribbean blacks back then. You know, be say because it's just that a lot of things had happened. A lot of historically, some of the things that he's descendant from the Menelik and Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. Saying that Solomon met with Queen of Sheba, they can't conceive, the picking way they born, can be Menelik, and then boom, boom, boom. A lot of different things. That's we will discuss them when we talk about Rastafarianism and the consciousness and black consciousness, and the topic of that discussion will be black consciousness and Rastafarianism. We're going to be discussing that next week. So these are one of the reasons why the blacks, especially in Jamaica, felt like Emperor Haile Selassie had this cult following. You know what I mean? You know, easy. So throughout his reign, he was always for the empowerment of the black nation. He did a lot. You know, at one point he was financing the African Union single-handedly. You understand? We'll give him props for that. And then there's a place, he established a place called Shashamani. Shashamani was a place where if you were black and you feel like going back to Africa anytime, he will give you free land and you will move back to Ethiopia. He will give you a land in a place called Shashamani and you're welcome. So that's part of that consciousness and movement back to Africa. I started by Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey donated his own sea liner, the Black Star. You understand? So he had the Black Star, and then that's what they used in carrying slaves back to Africa back then. So the same idea developed and pushed by Emperor Haile Selassie. That's when they started putting Ethiopia slowly back on the map. And then they had that Shashamani movement. So when he visited Jamaica in 1966, a lot of people were like, wow. People like Bob Marley's wife, Rita Marley, she had the stigmata. She had this, what they call the stigmata. She said she saw the vision, and then a lot of them believed that it was of Christ. Said that he saw on the hand, didn't see that place where they use nail. When Haile Selassie was waving at the people, Rita Marley and a few other people said they saw the what they call the stigmata, some of the things where they for Christ's body, where they use crucify him. You see you see that nail where they nail for a hand. So he saw that on Emperor Haile Selassie. So a lot of them thought he was Jesus, and that's why some started worshiping him in the Rastafarian culture. We discussed that at a different time, right? So people like Don Carlos, them, you know, they became Rastafarianism adherents after the 1966 visit of Emperor Haile Selassie. People like Peter Tosh, them, Bob Marley, and a lot of that era, that Renaissance era, you see a lot of those blacks gunning for it, gearing towards Rastafarianism, because they felt and they believed it was the way to go at that moment, right? So who are you to question someone's spiritual convictions, you know? So that's part of the things we're discussing on this platform. We must learn to respect one another's positions and opinions At best, if you feel like our own opinions and positions are at variance with theirs, or theirs is at variance with ours, what we can do is, backed up with facts and figures, we try to present a superior logic to theirs. You can beat someone down and win them over respectfully without actually being disparaging and disrespectful to them, right? So we encourage everybody, if you have any opinion or position, present it. If there's a differing opinion, try to win them over by compassion and persuasion. You can use compassion, persuasion, and respect to win people over. And when you win them over, before you know it, those people will become disciples and apostles of your own position and opinion. But you must respect them. Very important. And let me tell you, funny enough, one of the reasons why it's good to learn. You, when they discuss saying that you be the person who know best, even this that your opinion where they push. Do you know that if you have time to listen to those other people, sometimes they will make sense, and sometimes they can actually convince you, and then you can actually even become their own ambassador for that their position or opinion. It happens. And most times you become at peace, because that's why people say I found the light. That's when you can say slowdown caused by crashes in you have found the light. You are still on the best route. So when you have found the light, oh well, you just did. So my point again, on this platform, we know they do violence. They do opinions and positions presentations. And if yours is at variance with someone else's, you use compassion, you use persuasion, you use respect to win them over. And they will do the same for you. Whoever wins the other over, or whoever is won over, should be respectful in accepting it. I wouldn't want to call it defeat. I would call it accept the change. Accept the change of mind. You're welcome. Or accept the existence or the appreciation of a more superior logic than what you had or what you believed in, right? That's life. So the reason I mentioned Emperor Haile Selassie and the movement back to Africa, the Shashamane movement, and also the Black Star liner, the sea liner by Marcus Garvey, is to show you is to talk about some of the extras that some of these people had done for our communities in the past. Civil rights leaders, them try well. Now, if you go to Shashamane, you see a lot of Caribbean people, a lot of blacks living there that moved over there from Africa. Some moved from Jamaica, some moved from Guyana. They've lived there for generations. These are some of the things Emperor Haile Selassie put in place. That's why in the Rastafarian culture, when you talk about, because after they call that movement, they call it the repatriation movement, right? I mean, you repatriate the slaves. You repatriate the slaves back to their original place. You repatriate them from where when I carry them go, which is the Americas. The Americas, including Caribbean islands, including Central America, including North America. Anyway, so the repatriation That's why in Jamaica they will tell you repatriation is a must. So some of these people, some moved back to Shashamani, some moved to Ghana, some moved to different places. So that repatriation is a must. But you cannot empty the whole of Jamaica. It's not possible now because of repatriation. So some of them believed and still believe in that repatriation movement, but they now just decided to stay back in Jamaica. So the phrase, the new phrase now where people they use, the new phrase is spiritual repatriation is a must. So when some people say repatriation is a must, then you hear them also add physical or spiritual. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, you know. Spiritual, they will tell you a Rasta, a Bobo Dread in Jamaica, if he come to you and chat a little bit apart to you, you know. When they must see you, they must appreciate the fact that maybe you're African and 10, you know. So the blackness is a rich and 10, you know. They might feel talk to you on some things like repatriation is a must, you know. It's a must, physical or spiritual, it doesn't matter. Anyhow, you feel like doing your own repatriation, you have to do that regardless, you know, physical or spiritual. They may have a couple of uncles, couple of aunties, couple of cousins, and they might move back to Africa. Right now they live in Shashamani physically. But me a road boy over here, me can't do that right about now because man I run a few things out here. So for me, spiritually that repatriation are going down already, you know. So that's what me I talk about. Repatriation is a must, physical or spiritual. My cousin and them are done do the them are done do the physical aspect of it. But the rude boy like me now, me I do the spiritual aspect of it. So at the end of the day, Shashamani is a must, you know. So that's back to make just the yarn. So that's how. So you hear some of those Bobo Dread and Rastafari deep conscious soldiers will talk to you about that. They might chat real. They don't chat no political song. They might chat real consciousness and thing, you know. So as him who when they hajilanyo obodo before anya bada. And when I say obodo, I mean the world. Some people that them help fix this world before we enter. We where they drag social media now, they fight. They do like saying that we be Galadima for the whole matter and a lie. The people that gave us that freedom, now the civil rights fighters. We're talking about Marcus Garvey. We're talking about W.E.B. Du Bois them. We're talking about Emperor Haile Selassie. You understand? We're talking about people like Odimegwu Ojukwu them. You know, these are people that I know. Say some of you guys will be like, why are we mentioning Odimegwu Ojukwu on civil rights fighting? Let me tell you, in America, they study Odimegwu Ojukwu. Make una so that, and I know some of you don't know. In America, Black American history, they study Odimegwu Ojukwu even more than Nnamdi Azikiwe. They just mention Nnamdi Azikiwe because Azikiwe went to Lincoln University here, in go school here and all that here. But they study Odimegwu Ojukwu, the Black Renaissance, right? The blackness. When you talk about humanity and when you talk about liberation of black people, they hold Odimegwu Ojukwu higher than Nnamdi Azikiwe. I know some of them are going to argue with it, but that's not even why we're here today. And I'm not going to understand that. We're not here to debate that. But what I'm saying is, Odimegwu Ojukwu is mentioned amongst the people that have given respect to the black man, that have worked hard to regain integrity and to regain dignity for the black man. Because the way they see him say British people won't come chance one small African nation like that. You understand? We get oil. Then they instigated Nigeria to, you know, to fight the people. And then this young stallion, Ademi Ojukwu, come out and say, no way, you can't do that. You understand? So the same say Ojukwu stood up and held strongly against the advances and collective military force or forces of the Western oppressors. England, Russia, America was silent, even though they throw small food for come. They throw small food come side of in the once in a while they go send something small food come east. Say we could know that for Biafra because they were already engaged in Vietnam back then, and they were dying steady, so they couldn't do much. And so they left England, their partner, their lifetime partner, to handle that one. And see, the England where they left to handle us, England, come they finish blacks, come they finish Igbo people, or not even Igbo people, Biafran people, because Biafra is not only Igbos. So, back to what to the yarn about Emperor Haile. So I'm telling you why they mention Ojukwu. They often mention Ojukwu as one of the major stallions in the civil rights struggle, right? These are one of the major reasons. Now, if you come see something like what's his name? Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, you go now know say some of these people know they know the joke. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were totally different in their approaches, their own approaches to liberation of the black man. But at the end of the day, they have a convergent idea of black liberation, and it won out. See us now. See where we did now. Before, back in the day, where are they now? No fit they there. See all these places. Before, I no fit they here. See this place. Oyibo go just carry you, discharge you, kill you. They go mend you. This is the deep Oyibo territory. You understand? But they go see me here, they go greet me, they go hail me. So, civil rights era had done a lot for our people, and we must respect and appreciate that. The civil rights leaders don't do. Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, Emperor Haile Selassie, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and many more. And them fight so that all of us go sit down and enjoy it. And we must respect them. We must show them that we must hold steady. We must hold steady. And let them help us. So if you check all this in where the yarn now, don't say you come be like say we just the yarn. This is education, this is teaching, and this is some things. These are some of the things that some of our people don't even know. I know say we're into too much content creating now, jump around, do this skit funny. We are forgetting about education of the mind. So on this platform, we educate the mind. We let the mind know within the, you understand? So that when you educate the mind gets charged up. And when the mind is charged up, it will be able to harness some of the ideas we will just the messian with. Some things we will get for here, ideas they here, but we will not letting those ideas come out. You understand? So what we have to be able to do is we have to be able to cogitate ideas, right? And when you have that cogitation of ideas, you imbibe them, grab them, right? And then when you grab them, you mechanize them, you mobilize them, meaning you have to find appendages to those ideas, and those appendages are the little things, some of the networking, some of the necessary items where you need. Maybe you go need social media, you go need someone to push them, you go anything, or you can even push it. Even politicians, they do them. If a politician say in one, let's say politician in America too, if they have let's say a New York politician wants to sponsor a bill that will help put more tourism at the Niagara Falls, right? The Niagara Falls is a border between New York and Canada. It's like a tourist center. People, they go there. So let's say he has an idea to encourage more tourism there, either maybe by reducing the amount of taxes, federal taxes paid by businesses that are situated or that are located there, for instance. You know that if he's pushing that through the walls of Congress, it might be difficult to accept by a senator from West Virginia, for instance. And West Virginia, they get a lot of farms, they get pigs, they get all kinds of animals there. So that senator might be like, what am I doing supporting this bill with this New York, and what do I have to do with Niagara Falls? So when a situation like that shows up, you see that senator from New York link up with the senator from West Virginia, and they marry the bills. You see, they will introduce a package where that package will now be called, I'm just giving an example how some of these movements work, right? These legislative movements work. They will now call the bill Save America Bill. Save America Bill, tourism and agriculture. They will call it Tourism and Agriculture Save America Bill. So tourism, the New York guy is satisfied. Agriculture, the West Virginia guy is satisfied. And they put it together. And then boom, the bill don't pass. The funding don't start. They don't fund the one for Niagara Falls in New York, and they don't fund the one for West Virginia, right? So these are some of the appendages that I'm talking about. When you have an idea, you have plans. You need to weaponize your plans. You need to militarize your plans. You need to create appendages for those plans, for them to be executed, for them to work. That's my point again, right? So, any ideas where you get, do not let the ideas die within you. No. Let the ideas spring up. Work them out. Weaponize them. Militarize the ideas. Charge them up. Don't forget, the light that you see today is a product of excitation of atoms, electrons and protons. In fact, photons. If you do not excite those molecules, those photons will not jump out to cause the light where they see. And the Bible tells you, let your light so shine so the world can see. that you are truly a child of God, right? How do you let the light shine? If you're gonna keep your ideas in their original, or what do you call it, in their original state, in their own cultural state, you have to be able to find ways to move those ideas. You have to be able to find ways to make those ideas charge up. And once they're charged up, then they'll become something. So ideas, keep them flowing. Do not be restricted. Do not be overly contained. Bring them out, so that no matter how diverging these ideas are, at the end of the day, they will all be converging. And when they converge, that means we have a unified and common purpose. When they converge, it means that eventually there's what they call a unified and common purpose. In Hosea, everything will just be okay eventually. If someone is talking here, do not go ahead and be trying to discourage them or being disrespectful to them. It doesn't work that way. Not at all. Encourage ideas from people. Encourage, listen, even if it's irritating to you sometimes. Listen. Some of those times that you listen, those times can be the time that will present you with facts and opportunities to further fine-tune and perfect your own ideas, to which you hold so dearly. I communicate. So in life, you can never try to be too good. Nobody is. You can never try to over champion being Mr. Perfect or Miss Perfect. No, nobody is. Even on this platform, we're not gonna let you. Our job is to tell the truth here. Always. Anything what we do, we talk koro, make everybody know say that we talk and that's so it's supposed to be. Share on a follow. So my people, we don't do this program now for like, I don't even know how long we don't do this program. Most important thing is that we're making progress. So we're supposed to be having interactive sessions. People are supposed to be calling in and discussing this and other opinions. But because of time, we're running out of time. What we're going to do is we're going to have to, let me see the best time to schedule. Tomorrow, we'll come back here and we discuss more on consciousness and any ideas that you have to help with the state of the roads that they have in Nigeria. Any ideas you have for the engineers to make those roads a lot better. Those ideas are welcome. Let them stream, let them spring forth. Let them spring forth like minute many. Let them spring forth like a minute many. Squeaky clean from the depth from the oblivion of your heart. Let them spring forth from the oblivion of your heart. Spring forth like the Mini, and then bring them out. And trust me, with that, no one can stop what you have for yourself. And don't look at what a lot of the time, some of this is, I hope I'm not trying to sound too much like a church person, because me, I know be a church preacher, right? A lot of the times, most of the problems that we have is that a lot of us just want to make money, and do this, do that, all for ourselves, self. Have you ever thought about serving humanity? It's good to do something and make money, but you can say, God, the ones will be Christians, or anyone where they pray, the ones will be even traditionalists. I say, I say, God, please, I want this, I want that. And God, please, when I get this, I want to be able to do this for my people. I want to be able to do this for this community. I want to be able to do that for this community. I want to be able to raise some students amongst them. I want to be able to take some students to university. I want to be able to put some students through skills and skills acquisition and job training. I want to be able to do things. Father, help me. If you do this for me, I will do this, I will do that. Trust me, when you talk to your chi, and then you talk to your chuku,
for Columbus Boulevard toward Washington Avenue.
Pay attention. You talk to your chi, according to this boy, Iheanyị Okong with the as Iheanyị. My brother from Morada, Dibia Borompri, Osi Opera, Abraham Ribola, Yashi, Nugega Hempuga. Nugega Hempuga, no Nagwega Hempuga, Osi Opera, Nugega Hempuga, Mepuha Payoso. Oh boy, you care. So Bikono, I know Pula, Nane can't high puga. Gawa down high puga, Gagwan, and you puha also. Because the goal at the end of the day, the goal, and you went a high choro. At the end of the day, the goal, Nene, and went a high choro for humanity. Once humanity is served, trust me, whatever you do, once you serve humanity, you'll be very, very satisfied, and you'll be comforted, and you'll be fulfilled. You can serve humanity in several ways. You can serve humanity with your talent, where God don't give you. That's one. You can serve humanity with your resources. God feeds, don't give you money, then you will use that money, convert them to something else, where God will still use that same thing. For instance, now God, if He don't give you money, well.
Turn right onto South.
But you know, get talent for soccer, and you know, say a few of your boys, a few of your guys, where they your village, they sabi play soccer, but they don't get anybody where go carry them go sponsor them, where go carry them go. They don't get anybody where go carry them go do we go meet some scouting agents, right? Or some scouts for Europe. And you know, say if they go try some of those trials for Europe, they go see them. You can't come on money. Now this is the resource we God don't give you. Just come on your resources now. Use and buy tickets. Those tickets, carry those people. Get hotel accommodation, everything for them. and then boom, you can't land Europe. And then God just have it in a way we say after they try out they take them, and these people they become professional soccer players, making a lot of money, and then doing bigger things for the community at large, their families and the community. So these are some of the things where at the end of the day you'll be fulfilled. You see, you've not directly used your talent to do ammo because you know be your lane, but you've used the resources we God give you to bless humanity, to work for God in other aspects, you know. So that's my point again. Anything where you do, you must pay attention. Anything where you do, you must be focused. Anything where you do, you must be serious. You must be purposeful. You must have a plan
Washington Avenue.
to making it better for the average man. If those things are not there, trust me, my brother, my sisters, it will just be like, say,
Washington Avenue
it will just be doing the same things over and over and over again. It's so difficult to win when things are stacked up against you in the negative realms. You know what I'm saying? So, but for now, I want to say this to everyone on We4We Media. We're going to continue this discussion tomorrow. So bring your ideas, submit your entries, and then we're going to have some calls. You can call in. We'll share a number for you to call in. And we're going to be doing a big giveaway. We have a few fans. We have some fans that have been there for us. They've been working, sharing our videos, commenting on our posts, and then we must do. In fact, those fans, we must remember them. Somebody was what's his name was telling me, Mike, right? Mike was saying people like Chioma Freedom, them, you know, a lot of them will be our major people. Say we must recognize them. So this week, na big giveaway week. So with the watch, so make you the comment, they share our videos, they comment.